Hey guys, it's Micah from edeneyetarot. Oops, I don't have my microphone up. Hey guys, it's Micah from edeneyetarot. I am here today to do a guided message today. This is going to be more of just like tarot and just kind of my own intuitive feelings. I wanted to do a video like this because we just had the full moon in Capricorn, and rather than just kind of like doing my regular format and going into the astrology, I did want to do like a guided message for like the general energy. And so if this is something that resonates with you, this message is for you. If not, that's absolutely fine. Obviously, it's just not meant for you. And so I wanted to jump right into it with this kind of general energy reading that we're having for, this time right now. And so we're going to jump right into that. But before I do that, I did want to say if you would like to book a reading with me, you can check the link down below. And don't forget to like and comment on this video if you enjoyed it, if it was helpful, all the good things. And so let's go ahead and jump into this. So not surprisingly, the first two cards that came up for this reading are the moon and the high priestess, which I think is so not surprising. I'm like blanking on words right now, but it is so perfect for this general energy. The moon is a card that sometimes is attributed to Cancer, but I think in traditional tarot, it's attributed to Pisces, actually. But we see a lot with the moon, especially like I love the moon in this tarot deck in particular, because it's talking all about like Datura, or Datura is the moonflower, or it's the actual like flower that's on this card. And Datura is a flower that she is extremely seductive and mysterious, and she has this very alluring smell to her, but she's very poisonous. Datura does not, like as a plant spirit, does not fuck around. She can be very scary. She, is very intense. And she faces us to face our fears. And that's a lot of what the moon card is about. It is daring to face the unknown, especially the unknown that is held within you in particular. Being willing to face those issues that maybe you have hidden from yourself, or you have not dealt with, being willing to really look those in the eye head on, or being willing to move forward and coming to a more grounded sense of home by having to kind of go through the enchanted woods, or maybe not the enchanted woods, because that sounds almost too whimsical for the moon, but kind of like the forbidden forest, I think is a better way to think of this. The things that go bump in the night that you've created, and maybe even that other people have created, you have to be willing to stand up to those things and not really know what's coming next. And that can be extremely scary. This can also be a card that's, because it is attributed to Pisces, it can be about really being sensitive psychically, really feeling into the subtle vibrations of others, or your own intuition, and really listening to your own intuition, which we see a lot of when we actually have the priestess card come up, which is a lot about intuition in itself as a card. And so we see these themes of just kind of like these psychic, psychic or intuitive wisdom that's coming in either through your own kind of channeling, or maybe you have someone in your life, such as like a reader, a friend, an intuitive family member that is able to give you some sort of guidance at this time regarding some sort of issue that maybe is a bit scary, that's maybe a bit unknown. And I say unknown, the unknown can be a bit scary because we also have the King of Pentacles. The King of Pentacles, while he is super practical and, very hardworking, and is a person, if we're looking at the King of Pentacles as a person, it's someone that has worked very hard. They put in the work. They have put in the long hours. They are really very financially solid, and they're very security minded. But pentacles are about earth energy. And so it's about what's tangible. And some of you, I think, especially with the moon as a planet or a luminary being all about change, maybe some of you are going through some financial fluctuations right now. Aren't we all? But we can see maybe there's some fear around financial stability or being able to take care of others, being able to take care of ourselves, not knowing the future of some sort of financial situation. But it can also be because the King of Pentacles is all about stability, and predictability is a big part of earth energy as well. And so it can be someone that is very focused on like knowing what's going to happen. But I think with the High Priestess and the moon card coming up, it's really saying that you might not know what's going on right now, and that's okay. I think all of this is really coming to break up stagnation. If I'm like following my own intuition here, because we also have we have. First of all, I have two sets of cards that I want to talk about really quick. So I pulled a lot of cards for this. We have the Three of Swords, and then we also have the Eight of Cups. The Three of Swords is a card that's talking about like some sort of message or some sort of knowledge or information that is possibly very hurtful, but something that you need to hear. It's very much like tough love. The King of Pentacles is very much, I think, like a tough love kind of person. They want what's real. They want what's true. They can obviously be very compassionate, but they are someone that doesn't want, something fake. Earth is very practical and it's very based in what's real. What can you see? What can you touch? What's more sensual? And Priestess is really playing on not just what can be seen is real, but also what cannot be seen is also real. And it kind of reminds me of when people say the very thing that you are seeking is also seeking you. When people say that, it's a good thing, right? Absolutely. But I mean, I don't know if it's just me, but sometimes I think that like there's almost like a suspense or like almost like scariness to that. Like the thing that you are seeking is also seeking you. But what happens when that thing actually comes to you? Will you be prepared for it? Are you going to be prepared for the responsibility that holds? Are you afraid that you might fail and you might not live up to the dream, or that thing might not live up to the dream that you thought it would live up to? All kinds of things can really come from that. And to be able to kind of break us out of that mental cage that maybe we are putting ourselves in, the Eight of Cups and the Three of Swords come in, almost to kind of like wake you up and say, okay, if you want this, then you've got to start doing things different. You've got to walk away from some things. You're really going to have to purge some things, get rid of certain people, get rid of certain habits, certain relationships to prepare yourself for those things. The Eight of Cups is another card that's really talking about walking into the unknown. It's about having to walk away from something, especially if it is comfortable, especially if it is stable, especially if it is predictable, because it's saying that basically anywhere but here is better for you, essentially, because you're no longer growing in this situation that you're in. And sometimes that in itself hurts. I think as human beings, it's natural to want to cling to the familiar. And when we have the Eight of Cups and the Three of Swords coming up, it's really saying, okay, yeah, maybe that job is creating a lot of financial stability for you and comfortability, but you're miserable. And all of a sudden one day you're working and putting in all this work, and you're putting your blood, sweat, and tears into a project, and all of a sudden your boss takes all the credit for your work and then fires you. I don't know, something like that. But that could be like that Three of Swords moment where it's like, wow, I already knew that I was miserable because of some of the people that I was working around, but now this breaking point, or this, you're fired kind of thing, or this message that is very hurtful, is really like smacking me in the face with it's time to go, it's time to leave. So while it might be hurtful, it's something that you really have to hear, and it's something that is unexpected, because we also have the Wheel of Fortune. The story isn't over when the Three of Swords comes in, and you have to walk away with the Moon and follow the intuition, and follow your dreams, or follow spirit into the unknown. The story is not over, because there is always a turn of fate that is coming through every up and every down. And that's what the Wheel of Fortune is saying. The things that will come from that shaking of the snow globe, so to speak, are really helping to get the wheel turning. Actions are really being put into effect. And I literally think of like a wheel turning, and it's just set off. It's almost like that butterfly effect of, maybe if you push the wheel, like I'm thinking of like those old time wheels, like little wooden wheels that had like the little wood, like, I don't know what they're called, but like little wood rods from the center of the wheel, like pushing on just one of those creates this whole motion that creates the whole wheel to turn. And so one breaking point, or one hurtful severing of a relationship, habit, or whatever, is really setting a whole different chain of events into motion. A side note, has anyone like ever thought of, because I think of this, like every moment that you're alive is a moment, every moment that you're alive is a countdown to some event that you have no idea is about to happen. And it's just like a countdown. I don't know if that's just me, but I think about that all the time. And it like mind blows me. Like something I don't even know is about to happen and change my life. I am counting down, like there is a stopwatch, like a what is that? A proverbial stopwatch, yeah, that, or timer, that is just counting down until I get to that moment, and I don't even know it's coming yet, but it's going to change my life. That's kind of like what I see, like when I see like the Wheel of Fortune and all the cards that we've gotten so far. It sets off a completely different chain of events. And you have to be willing to listen, but not be stagnant. Listen, but don't dig your heels in. That's why we have the Four of Pentacles and the Four of Swords. Be willing to sit in the uncomfortability for the right amount of time. It's okay to not, jump into action, which I think is interesting, because we also do have the Knight of Swords here as well, which is such a character that is jumping into action, springing into action, being the hero for others. Sometimes you don't need to be the hero for others and champion others. Sometimes you need to be it for yourself. I think like part of this message is saying you have to be your own hero, but the other can be, the other way we could see this is that maybe other people are coming to help you. You can't listen to something without somebody else talking, or something else. You can't listen without there needing to be something that is needing to be heard. And so when I think about like the Four of Pentacles, it is definitely, and the Four of Swords, to be honest. The Four of Pentacles is about being okay with boredom, essentially. It's about letting energy flow in and out, not blocking yourself off from things, especially energetically. Letting things come to you without you like basically being like, almost like being like a cat in water, like not being frantic and like just kind of clawing at any kind of sense of stability. You're looking for the right sense of stability and security, not just anything. I think that can be a lot of what the Knight of Swords is about as well, is that urge to want to grab on to anything, to want to save yourself. And I can totally understand that, that feeling, but you want to make sure that you're reaching for the right thing, not just being that cat in the water, so to speak. I hope that metaphor lands. But then lastly, we have the Page of Swords, and we also have the Seven of Pentacles as well. So what's interesting is the Page of Swords is, I guess, the younger version of the Knight of Swords. In my mind, the Knight of Swords is more mature than the Page, but actually in this spread, I feel like the Page of Swords is actually more mature, because the Page of Swords is listening, it's watching, it's waiting. It is open to all information, but not judging information just yet. It is not taking anything on and doing anything with it. It's just listening, it's learning. And the Page of Swords is really a card that I think in this context is really saying that those that wait and are strategic with that Knight of Swords, the Page of Swords, because you're able to kind of be strategic, because you're listening and actively listening and not jumping right away, that the Seven of Pentacles comes from that, because the Seven of Pentacles says that through careful planning, through careful work, through careful learning comes the abundance that you're waiting for. All the things that you've sacrificed for up until now, all that work will come and will bear fruit. Very very much so. Or I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second. The Seven of Swords is a card that's really saying that all of that work that you put in will bear fruit eventually, but you have to be patient. Again, being willing to wait, but carefully and slowly just kind of labor over things, and being willing to trust the process. I think that's a big thing with the kind of going back to the Moon card and the High Priestess. The High Priestess is so much about, like, you don't have to necessarily do anything. Is it important to listen to the intuitive messages and also act? Absolutely, but acting is not the key part of the High Priestess. It's more so about listening and just receiving wisdom rather than just kind of like go, go, go kind of thing, and being able to trust and hear. Sometimes hearing is the most powerful thing that you can do, and listening is the most powerful thing you can do. And so some of the things that come to mind are like learning through meditation, or learning through speaking with a reader, or learning through maybe reading books, or like, finding new ways to meditate. I did do a video about creative ways to meditate, I think last week. If you have not seen that video, I definitely recommend that you check it out. But those are some of the things that I think about that could really be great tools when we're talking about the energy of this full moon in Capricorn, because Capricorn is so much about the careful planning and the strategy of it all. It's a Saturn ruled sign, and so it's about like the long-term success rather than the right now. And the best thing that you can do right now is to kind of sit, wait, trust the process. I always say prayer, with this disclaimer that prayer is not distinctly a Christian thing. The word is not owned by Christianity, but it's something that we can all take part in. So maybe prayer is something that you really have to kind of dive into at this time, if you're having a bit of a struggle with the shakeup of stagnation at this time. But anyway, that is my video for today. I would love to hear from you guys down in the comments. Was this reading helpful? I hope so. But without further ado, I will see you guys next week. Bye.